Check now the best anti-stress solution for your everyday life. Click the link in the description for your anti-stress solution.
Turkey to hold referendum on presidency on April 16. Election Board. Turkey will hold a referendum on April 16 on proposed changes to the constitution that would replace its parliamentary system with the executive presidency sought by Tayyip Erdogan, the head of the High Election Board announced on Saturday. The proposal would enable the president to issue decrees, declare emergency rule, appoint ministers and top state officials and dissolve parliament, and could see President Erdogan remain in power until 2029. Erdogan's supporters see the plans as a guarantee of stability at a time of turmoil in the NATO member state and European Union candidate country. Opponents fear a lurch towards a more authoritarian state. Iraq says will stay clear of U.S.Iran tensions. Iraq won't take part in any regional or international conflicts, Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi told State TV on Saturday. The comment came after Abadi had spoke in a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump during which tensions with Iran were mentioned. The call was the first between the two leaders. A political commentator close to Abadi, San al-Shanma'uri, said Abadi's comment addressed the U.S.-Iranian tensions. Iran has close ties with the Shiite political elite ruling Iraq while Washington is providing critical military support to Iraqi forces battling Islamic State. Iraq is very keen to preserve its national interests and does not wish to be part of any regional or international conflict which would lead to disasters for the region and for Iraq, Abadi said, according to State TV. Trump said on Friday that Iranian President Hassan Rouhani better be careful after the latter was quoted as saying that anyone who speaks to Iranians with threats would regret it. The White House on Friday said Trump and Abadi spoke to the threat Iran presents across the entire region, in their first phone call since the inauguration of the U.S. president. Abadi's office on Friday also gave a readout of the phone call that took place overnight Thursday, without specifically mentioning Iran. Both readouts stress the importance of their continued cooperation against Islamic State, as the militants are being pushed back in Iraq and losing control over Mosul, the last major city stronghold under their control in the country. The United States has more than 5,000 troops deployed in Iraq and is providing air and ground support in the Battle of Mosul. Iran has also played a major role in the fight against Islamic State by arming and training Iraqi Shiite groups collectively known as Popular Mobilization. The Iraqi Prime Minister Dr. Abadi is stressing once again the policy of neutrality and to steer clear from conflicts, political commentator Shamma-Uri told State TV. The Iraqi readout said Abadi asked Trump to lift the ban on people from his country traveling to the United States. U.S. courts suspended the restrictions announced in January on entries from Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen. Trump has said he will keep trying to reinstate them. Abadi resisted calls from influential pro-Iranian Shiite politicians to retaliate against the ban, at a meeting held on January 29, citing Iraq's need for U.S. military support. Washington last week ratcheted up pressure on Iran, putting sanctions on 13 individuals and 12 entities days after the White House put Tehran on notice over a ballistic missile test. Iran's dominant influence in Iraqi politics was eroded after Islamic State routed the Iraqi army commanded then by Prime Minister. Saudi Crown Prince says U.S. Saudi ties strong. Saudi Arabia's relations with the United States are historic and strategic, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Nayef said on the occasion of the visit of CIA Director Mike Pompeo to Riyadh. This is the first reported visit by a senior Trump administration appointee to the kingdom. Our relationship with the United States is historic and strategic, any attempts to undermine that will falter, Prince Mohammed said, according to state news agency SPA late on Friday. Prince Mohammed, who is also Interior Minister, said his country will continue to combat terrorism. In a recent phone call, Saudi Arabia's King Salman invited U.S. President Donald Trump to lead a Middle East effort to defeat terrorism and to help build a new future, economically and socially, for Saudi Arabia and the region. activists on both sides of abortion issue to protest across U.S. Anti-abortion groups have called demonstrations at more than 200 Planned Parenthood locations throughout the United States on Saturday to urge Congress and President Donald Trump to strip the women's health provider of federal funding. Planned Parenthood supporters in turn have organized 150 counter-demonstrations outside politicians' offices and government buildings. Anti-abortion activists have said they were energized by the election of Republican Trump, who selected their longtime ally Mike Pence as vice president and nominated conservative jurist Neil Gorsuch to the U.S. Supreme Court. On January 27, tens of thousands converged on Washington for the 44th March for Life, where Pence became the most senior government official to speak in person at the annual anti-abortion rally, organizers said. "We have the win in our sails. The election was a real benchmark. Pro-life voters were really a key constituency and the Trump administration has taken note," said Eric Scheidler, executive director of Pro-Life Action League, one of the main backers of Saturday's demonstrations. In Washington, demonstrators will meet at the Supreme Court and march to a Planned Parenthood location. Other demonstrations have been called in 45 states in cities large and small. Planned Parenthood, a 100-year-old organization, provides birth control and other women's health services in addition to abortion at 650 health centers, according to its website. Its leaders say abortion's rights supporters have also been energized by Trump's election, as exemplified by the hundreds of thousands who flooded Washington a day after Trump's inauguration in favor of women's rights, including abortion rights. The pro-Planned Parenthood events were organized spontaneously, without the group's initiative, a spokeswoman said. All across the country, Planned Parenthood supporters are taking it upon themselves to organize in their communities on their own, Kelly Robinson, a leader of Planned Parenthood Action Fund support, said in a statement. Saturday, and every day, Planned Parenthood advocates and activists show that they refuse to be intimidated and they won't back down. Although U.S. law prohibits the use of federal funds for abortions, anti-abortion activists say funding for other purposes acts to subsidize abortions. Planned Parenthood receives federal funds from Medicaid reimbursements and Title X, a federal program that supports family planning and preventive health services. Planned Parenthood says cutting off those funds would make it more difficult for women to get birth control. Philippines dismisses about 100 policemen for using drugs. The Philippine police have sacked nearly 100 policemen since the start of the year because they were found to be drug users, a top official said on Saturday, in a cleanup of the ranks after President Rodrigo Duterte halted police anti-drug operations. More than 7,700 people have been killed since Duterte unleashed his bloody war on drugs 7 months ago, about 2,500 in police operations, while the rest are being investigated. Duterte had been unwavering in defending the police in the face of international outrage over the toll, but his faith was shaken by the killing of a South Korean businessman late last year by rogue officers. 90 police officers have been fired since the start of the year and 9 were removed last year, Internal Affairs Service Inspector General Alfredo Triambulo said in comments broadcast on ANC TV. Those caught using illegal drugs, according to the civil service rules, must be dismissed. That is a grave offense, he said, adding that he had promised the chief of police that he would quickly resolve outstanding cases. Triambulo said he would recommend next week the dismissal of 40 more policemen to the chief of police. Last month, Duterte denounced the police as corrupt to the core and suspended their role in anti-drug operations, although he vowed to forge ahead with the drug campaign. Human rights groups suspect many of the killings being investigated were committed by vigilantes or hitmen supported by the police. The Philippine Drugs Enforcement Agency has been put in charge of anti-drug operations and Duterte has also raised the possibility of getting.
If you like to receive more news on our YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. If you like to receive an alert every time a new upload is made, hit the bell. Give us a like to the video or dislike if you agree or not to the news. Be proactive. Is your life and the news will serve your day. Finally, leave us your opinion in the comment section on what you think about the subject. Thank you and stay tuned to Breaking News 24.